Hey there guys, this is Christopher talking. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you guys what is the heat and what does heat do. Now, let's say if you're holding the wooden handle of a spade and then touch the metal feels colder than the wood. Even though the two materials are really the same temperature, this is because of the way heat flows, which means the convection. And another example I gotta show you is your fingertips are warmer than the metal. Heat flows easily in the metal from them because the metal is a good conductor. As it loses the heat, your fingertips get cooler and they feel cold. Heat does not flow easily in the wood, which is a poor conductor. This is why your fingertips stay warm when they touched it. Now let's talk about how heat flows. In the kitchen, heat usually comes from burning gas or electricity. The heat has to flow into the food to cook it. Heat flows in three ways, which are conduction, convection, and radiation. Heat from a gas flame or electric hot plate enters the base of the saucepan. It flows through the metal and into the water in the pan by conduction. Heat flows through the water by convection. Currents of hot water rises from the bottom of the pan and carry heat to all the water. So this may cause the water feeling gradually hot. Red hot wires is heated by electricity toast bread in the toaster. The hot wire gives out the heat rays that heat everything they meet. This kind of heat flow in called radiation. Now, let's talk about what are the gains and the loss. Heat is a form of energy, and everything has a certain amount of heat, and an object gets hotter if heat flows into it, and it gets more heat. If heat flows away, an object gets colder. Everything is made of atoms and molecules that are moving. When heat flows into something, it makes them particles move faster. Same to the opposite. When heat is lost, they slow down. This is likely what we talked about the atoms and particles in the previous lessons. Please go and click on my previous lessons if you haven't watched it, and do it now. More interestingly, most of the materials contract when they get colder, but water expands as it freezes to ice. This makes the ice less condensed than water, which causes the ice to flow in water like this iceberg. Now let's talk about the heating up. Rub your hands together quickly. They soon feel warm. The friction makes the particles in your skin speed up, which will also cause the statics, which we'll be talking about that later. And it gets hotter. Striking a match produces enough heat in the way to cause the head of the match to burst into flame. The sun is our main source of heat. Heat rays radiate out from the sun. Solar heating systems store the sun's heat and use it to warm buildings and heat water. We also make heat for our homes in two main ways. We burn fuels such as gas in the cooker or coal in the fireplace, or pass electricity through a wire. This is how electric fires work. Your body also makes its own heat as it consumes the food and drink. This heat keeps you warm and keeps your body working. Here on the top is an example of how the air gets the most heat from the ground, not directly from the sun. The warm weather rises and the birds like the condor rise right on the spurring currents. As on our right hand side, we can see there's a vacuum flask showing its structure of how it builds. The container in a vacuum flask has a near vacuum between its two walls. Near all the air has to pump that up. Vacuums are very good at insulators, so little heat can get in or out. Which, in other words, this particular flask helps to keep the heat away from the water bottle when you're trying to touch the surface. Now, let's talk about the aspect of bigger and smaller. Heat not only makes the particles move faster, it also makes them to move apart, which is also why a heated object expands. When Concorde is flying, its holes gets very hot and expands by about 25 centimeters. In the same way, when something gets colder, the particles slow down and move together. So the object contracts and it gets smaller. Heat in a container of a gas raises its pressure as the gas particles move faster and strike the container walls with greater force. It's the same thing as a car engine burns fuel to make hot gases, and the high pressure gases drive the energies and moving parts. A jet plane's engine works in the same way. Both of these types of engine are known as heat engines. As the picture is showing on the bottom part, there's a thermogram picture of a person holding a burger. Hotter and colder parts appears in different colors. The hotter parts, such as the burger itself, shows up red, the red color. The parts colored blue or purple, such as the buns, they are coldest. So therefore, different colors and the thermograms shows up or also distinguish the color whether it's hot or cold. Well, that's all for today's show. Please drop a like and subscribe to my channel. If you're new, please do it now. And if you're old, please stay tuned for more videos. And I will see you guys there tomorrow. Bye. Stay tuned.